Good morning, everybody. Today, we are going to talk about COVID and the need to jumpstart our bodies. Not jumping out of a plane, but some days with COVID up and down, we kind of feel like we're flying by the seat of our pants. So let's kind of come together on this and see what's going on. So the first question is always, what has COVID done to us? What has COVID done to you personally? That doesn't mean that you got COVID. It could mean that, but that doesn't mean that. But in general, how has it affected you? Give me some examples. Yes, ma'am.
It's made me leery to go out in a lot of public places.
Yeah. Yeah. What else?
Going shopping or
Yeah. You're afraid. I'm afraid, right? So you're afraid and of just going out into public places where you don't know everyone, you don't know their vaccination status. A lot of people I know, I don't know why I'm still surprised when I go to the grocery store. I was there Friday evening. I did my grocery shopping early, and there were so many people with no masks on, and I think I'm not there. I don't think I'm ever going to be there. I think that's just me. Good morning. Come on in. We're just getting started. You are good. What else has it done to us, to people you know?
it isolates.
Yeah, two words, two people, exact same time. You guys said isolation. So the mental effects, right? And that's affected people from the age of, 3 to the age of 93, 103. So the mental effects are quite there. Anything else that you guys can think of?
Shut down performing groups.
Yeah, and that's huge. I was just reading on Instagram a couple of days ago. There's an artist and photographer, and she used to do snapshots in New York City of just everyone, right? The lines at all the shows and the lounges and the clubs. And then she just did another series, and it was the exact opposite. There are no lines. The lounges were closed, the clubs were closed. So it's very interesting, right? And that I think of my girls because they're still growing up, that how much they're missing out on, right? Where are we going to go to a holiday show? Are we going to go to New York City and do a show? We're not, and how much that affects them. So here's some things that we had come up with, right? The mental effects, and we touched base on that. And then we're looking at physical aspects, right? The weakness, the falls, the decreased balance, and the surgeries or the postponement of surgeries. My husband works at Washington Hospital Center. It's a huge trauma hospital. So their surgeries were initially postponed just because of COVID, but then surgeries were postponed. They didn't have enough operating rooms, ORs, running because they couldn't. They didn't have enough staff. And fortunately, they got back to kind of normal. And unfortunately, in the last month, they've had to start closing down ORs in the evenings on the weekends. They don't have enough nursing staff. So we're still there. We're COVID. I know the numbers are decreasing. Things look good, but we're still there. We're seeing the aftermath effects. Here, I've known quite a few residents that postponed their surgery if they needed a knee or hip surgery. They postponed it for a year. So we come to this, right? And we're going to see, and two of you said, I'm afraid to go out. So that, one is the mental effect, the fear, but what's the other effect is when you don't move around as much, when you're in this facility, which we'll go over, has some great benefits, but we're so used to the platforms, the surfaces, and you're not in a crowd by any means. So that also affects our muscle memory and our balance because we don't need to be challenged, right? Because you're here. You're hopefully not going to fall because you know how to get around. You know what's going on. So as I said, we're going to look at this. What are the benefits of being in our facility in a CCRC, a continuing care rehab center? What are some of the benefits that you feel you're reaping from being in this building? Yeah.
The pool, the workout room,
Yes. Yes.
physical therapy.
Yeah. I love you, Miss Weiskittle. Yes. What else? What else are you guys reaping from here?
Bed, not having to go grocery shopping.
Yeah. The dining room's right here. You're guaranteed food. I went grocery shopping, I told you, on Friday night, and I did not buy anything crazy, I promise. It was $184. So the prices are going up. I mean, it's a little bit crazy. So yeah, you guys hit it. First of all, the social aspect, right? We know that isolation, and even here, right, there were empty halls for months and months on end. And then we started seeing people coming out. It felt so good to us, the staff even, to see you all starting to mingle together. The balance class, the strength class, the pool classes, the stepping on class, and then we also now have the brain class. It's amazing, right? And these are all group classes that you guys are going to. And so we're going to kind of touch on that. So we have all these things. Now the numbers and these next couple of slides I show you are not pertinent just to Miller's Grant. This is just across the board nationally in the United States. So we have all these classes. The gyms are opening up. We're doing all that, but yet falls are continuing. The top 10 causes of death among older adults. Of course, we have heart disease, cancer, strokes, Alzheimer's. But number 7 is unintentional injury. We don't know how it happened. It was an accident, right? And the top 3 causes of these unintentional injuries, the number 1 is falls. So if we're doing all this, if we're still going to the group classes, we're doing the strengthening, why is that? Why are we having so many falls still, right? So falls are common. Every second in America, an older adult falls. So every single second, right? 36 million falls happen. 8 million injuries are happening per year. That's a lot of injuries. Now, do they all require surgery? By no means. They don't. But they're still injuries, right? If you fall, we had a resident trip the other day, and a week later, she still has back pain, right? And she's not going to need surgery, but she's still having that pain. So what does that tell us? What does that make us think, right? The consequences of these falls. I'm going to right away say, and we see it in therapy all the time, more than 95% of the hip fractures that we see are due to falls in older adults. Falls are the leading cause of traumatic brain injuries, right? So if you fall, you hit your head and you have a brain bleed, and that is leading cause of TBIs, traumatic brain injuries. Falls and fall injuries increase the risk of nursing home placement. We see that, right? We have seen that here. We are lucky to have, although it's small, we have our 12-bed nursing home facility. But what we've seen during COVID times, and hopefully none of you have been hit by it, but yes, we get full very quickly. But what we're seeing is when you're in the hospital, you have surgery or whatever may have happened, and you need some rehab, and you have to go to a skilled nursing facility, so many were already full. And so it's a little bit scary. You're thinking, oh, when it happens, I'll be able to get placed somewhere. Not even necessarily Miller's Grant, somewhere. Fall death rates increased about 30% between 2009 and 2018. Now that's quite, that's a lot of years, but 30% is a large percentage. So, and it's not to scare you, but when I said it's time to jumpstart our bodies, I think what we're forgetting and what I'm noticing, conversation I had with my own parents a couple of weeks ago, and that's kind of what made me think, okay, this really is, a couple of months ago, sorry, really is what we need. Is they're like, yeah, we're doing fine. My dad was like, oh, my knee hurts, but I'm fine. I'm doing these stretches and strengthening. And I was like, but Dad, where does your knee hurt? And we kind of got into the logistics. And I was like, you know what, Dad, I think you need to go see the doctor, or you need to go see therapy, or whomever it was appropriate for him to see. So what we're saying is when these needs are coming on, so your new onset of pain. Okay. So for instance, my dad had knee pain. He's had it before. It was like a year ago, but now it's a new onset of pain, minor injuries, increased ambulatory issues. What that means is you're walking, right? Whether you have a cane, a walker, whatever you may have. But if you're noticing, if you're on a cane and now you're like, yeah, but I'm grabbing on more. Or if you're not holding on to anything and you feel like, yeah, I'm kind of sometimes stumbling just a little bit. That's a new onset. That means something is going on and that you need to get it looked at. So specifics that need to be addressed. That's a lot, right? So if there's a muscular pain that you have, or if you feel like, oh, I'm just kind of wobbly a little bit more, each person, each of you, so if you're falling or stumbling, and if you're falling and stumbling, your reason may be it may be my hip muscles are weak and I can't really hold myself up, my pelvis, I can't hold it up straight, and so I'm falling. Your reason may be that you have poor feet musculature. And so we need to look at your shoes. We need to look at orthotics. So what it means is each one of us, or me, right? Yesterday, I mean, I know it's my fibula. It really hurt. It's because, oh, I was doing jumps on my workout, but my ankles, or one side isn't strong enough and one side, my calf, is really tight. And I know that. So right away, I'm like, oh, I need to do calf stretches. But lay people aren't going to know that. What do you need specifically to your needs? Specific gait abnormalities, right? It could be due to your shoes. It could be due to muscular impairment. We talked about footwear. And then specific balance issues. Why are you having balance issues? Is it just because I drank too much last night? I hope not, that's not your reasoning. But is it really because, is it a muscular issue? I've been talking to you about your muscles, the strength and the length of your muscles, or is it truly a neurological issues? And that doesn't mean anything large. That doesn't mean, oh, you had a stroke or something like that. But what it means is we need to reconnect that connection between the brain and the muscles. So we need to focus more on your neurological strengthening rather than just your muscular strengthening. So what does that come down to is I love that here in this building, you guys get to see everybody, and the social aspect is so necessary that you guys, your general strengthening and balance, your opportunities are there. However, what we aren't sometimes getting is the specifics. So what I encourage you guys to do is I want you to go see your doctor sooner than later, seek out referral for therapy earlier than postponing. And some of you guys come to these health talks a lot. I normally don't push therapy or physician, but what we've noticed in the last probably 6 months is we're starting to see patients a little bit too late in therapy. And that doesn't mean we can't help you, but I feel like we could have really helped you 6 months ago and not had to get suddenly, we don't go from, oh yeah, my back hurts. Oh, I need to go get, an epidural. So, and then get therapy. So what I'm encouraging you to do, and it's not necessarily just therapy, it's really seek out your physician, seek out your healthcare provider when new onsets, when new issues happen a little bit earlier. I still want you to continue with the balance class, the strength class, the pull class, if you guys are going. I think it's amazing that we have that here. But as a team, what we're noticing is a lot of our residents are reaching out a little bit later than what they should be. So this was my health talk today. It was very short, I know, but I just needed to get that out there. I know Courtney is actually recording me because as a team, we're all having the same concerns, is that we just want to make sure you get the right care and you get it sooner rather than later. Any questions for me? I know, yes.
When you compare the benefits of the classes,
Mm-hmm.
compare them to pool classes,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which is more strengthening?
So if your question is cut and dry, which one strengthens more, right? Anything on land is strengthening more than anything in the pool. So we always start with the pool classes are always harder. Now, can you make the pool harder? I mean, you guys have the dumbbells, the floaty dumbbells, so it can definitely be harder. However, the whole goal of the pool is that you're not really able to do it on land. So I'm going to start with the pool. So, right, like if we're doing aquatics therapy, which we may start in the next year or so, is we start you in aquatics because the pain in the low back is so much that lets you do a little bit. And as you come out of that, then you go to land therapy. So it's not that the pool isn't beneficial, but definitely the things that you do on land give your body more of a challenge because it's against gravity. It's not helping to float up. Okay. Any other questions that I can answer for you all? I know, not as much today. It was a short health talk, but just wanted to get that out there. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question.
Yeah.
As I saw my primary care
Mm-hmm.
routine checkup.
Yeah.
And I mentioned walking around here, I'm fine, but I've noticed sometimes just walking out on the place, I'm not as sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what's the difference?
Yeah.
I
And-
notice here,
Yep.
I don't use the stairs as much.
Right.
At home, I was up and down stairs all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's
What's the process? Okay, so
For therapy? Sure. So you went to your primary care physician and you said that, and he or she would have been like, "Oh, maybe you don't need anything." Be like, "Oh, just practice more." But a lot of them will say, "Oh, let me refer you to physical therapy." So they'll write a script out. You come down to either the healthcare concierge or my office. We give you a packet that needs to be filled out. That packet is online as well now under Miller's Grant, under rehab. You can fill it out online, or you give me a hard copy. And then once we do that, I'll actually personally verify your insurance just to make sure everything, you guys aren't getting any bills that you're not expecting from us. And then we get you on the books to get you started for therapy.
And so what, you first do an evaluation?
We'll do, excuse me, we'll do an evaluation. And then from there, the therapist will recommend either 2 or 3 times a week. And some of you we've seen for 4 months. And some of you we've only seen for 2 or 3 weeks. We literally had 2 discharges last week. They're like, "I'm doing great." And I was like, "Oh, that's wonderful. You don't need to come to therapy for 3 months if it's not necessary." But some of us, we just need that little jump start, that little quick step where we're like, "Okay, I just need a little bit of help." And that would be the process. Any other questions for me? Yes, ma'am.
As you know, well, I do therapy,
Yes.
physical therapy. I feel like I'm losing ground. And I want to come back. But I still need a doctor's referral.
Still need a doctor's referral. So I will tell you, in the state of Maryland, I do have direct access. So you could come off the street out of, here and say, "Sheetal, I want to be seen." However, Medicare is just, and they'll pay for it and everything, but they just sometimes make it a little harder and they red flag you. And then we just have to make sure we support it more. So we always like a physician's referral, whether it's orthopedist, pulmonology, your primary, it doesn't matter. It could be any one of those. Yep. Okay. And so since you mentioned it, right, you feel like you're losing ground. And that's a lot of our patients. After about 3-4 months, they'll be like, "Sheetal, I was doing really well." So why is that? Why do you feel like you're not doing as well 3 months down the road? So I'll be honest, right? Have I been going to the gym 4 to 5 times a week like I used to? No, I've cut it down to 2 or 3 times, and I'm not going to the gym. I'm doing my video workouts, which get to be the same. It's same old, same old. So my body gets used to that, and they're like, "This isn't really hard." And then 2 is we get lazy. I mean, I'll be honest, right? If my therapist, which I went to therapy for 3 months for my knee, after that, am I still doing it a year later? I'm not. I'm probably doing other things. And the other thing, "Oh, but I'm walking around a lot." That does not count, right? And so those are the reasons we go back down to where we are, where we're losing ground. So that's good enough reason, yeah, to come back and sort of get a refit or go to your trainer, any of that kind of stuff, or come back to therapy. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. So the push isn't for therapy so much per se. I mean, I want to see you all, but the push is make sure you get to a healthcare provider earlier as soon as you are having a new onset of pain. Could it be just something ibuprofen can fix in a couple of days? That's great. But if not, it's been a week. We just had a patient, she asked me yesterday, she goes, "Oh, for 3 weeks I'm having foot pain. What should I do?" And I was like, "You know what? Put your brace on, and I think you need to go see the doctor." She had to have an x-ray, and she's now in to therapy. We just got her in this morning. So I worry about you guys more because I don't see you all as often. And I say this not just for this group of people, but whoever's going to be listening online, is we don't have eyes on you in independent living all the time, which is great. That's why you're in independent living. But we just kind of think about that more is if you guys have needs, and whether that be physical, social, or mental needs, we just don't have eyes on you. So we always kind of worry about you all a little bit. We're like your extended kids because we live here more often than we live in our own homes, I think. So just that's all, okay? If you guys have any questions, you let me know, and maybe you'll make it up to the flower arrangement thing upstairs outside. It's a beautiful day. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.